Well, good afternoon or morning or whatever. Last year, a Cole County judge ruled that Secretary of State summary on Amendment 3 was, quote, unfair, inaccurate, insufficient, and misleading. Yesterday, there was a bill before the Senate that would remove these checks and balances from the courts and give politicians more power, making it harder for the public to separate fact from fiction. I am proud of the Senate Democratic Caucus for standing up and making sure this bill did not pass yesterday. This week, we also saw an attempt to overturn the will of the people by reversing the decision voters made to ensure local leaders in St. Louis City can be held accountable for policing their community. And with that, I'll take any questions.
So with the police takeover, this could be both of you from St. Louis, so either one of you.
I will take Senator Roberts and Senator May on this issue.
Yeah, perfect. And so obviously this is a priority for the governor in addition to the legislature this year, so there's more pressure, I feel like, than there have been in the last couple of sessions. Mm-hmm. Thoughts on that added pressure? Do you feel like this is going to be kind of a priority for Republicans, and how do you intend to respond to it?
Yeah, from listening to the governor state of the state, it's clear that they've made it a priority, but I'll tell you right now, in the bill's current form, there's no pathway through the Senate. I had a long conversation with the bill sponsor and Senator May, and we didn't even get to the state-controlled portion of that piece of legislation. So, I welcome any conversations, but as of now, there's no path forward through the Senate.
What would a path forward look like to you, in theory?
Yeah, I think it's too early in the session to tell. I mean, that bill's nearly 100 pages long, and we are still going through it, so I welcome the conversations, but it's vitally important to me that it's just not some symbolic gesture. There actually needs to be real resources diverted to the city of St. Louis to ensure that our law enforcement officers actually have the tools that they need to be successful.
Okay, I can do the different topic. On the change to the ballot language, making it so that the legislature can basically, the judge can't rewrite it, it has to be Secretary of State. I guess thoughts on that idea? Do you think it's going to make it very far? Or do you think it's kind of the idea you get floor time and then it moves and everyone moves on?
Well, I don't like to put red lines or say no on anything in general, but I mean, we had some good compromise language we thought we came up with yesterday. And I think there will be some conversations about that would be able to protect the interest of having these things, so that we make sure that this is fair and the language is proper for the folks to see and be able, so they don't get confused, and it states exactly what's in the amendment or statute or whatever they're trying to change with the IP process and or through the legislature. So yes, we had some conversations with that, and I actually have had conversations with the Secretary of State's staff on some of these things. So
the governor's also put a lot of energy behind like school choice legislation or expansion of that program. There was an ad that he was featured in, I think it was earlier this week, just like pushing that. Like, do you have any openness for that? Like, where do you stand on expanding most scholars and school choice?
Yeah, I think specifically that ad was paid for by some national group for vouchers, right, to take our public money and go to unaccountable schools, take that and give it basically from our public schools, which educate 95% of the kids, and give it to some subsidized rich folks who are sending their kids to private school. Now I know in the governor's ad that he mentioned that he wasn't rich when he grew up, and this is the decision they had, but the vast majority of the people that we've seen, it's like 2/3 of the people that are getting this voucher money now currently were already in private school and already have incomes that are higher than you would think. Definitely higher than a legislator makes.
I also want to ask you have legislation about stopping corporations from buying up like residential property. Like, mm-hmm. Why did you file that bill, and like what was kind of behind that?
So Senator Nicola, he had mentioned something. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, but he had mentioned something in committee, and it struck a note with me, and that's one of the things I really like about being in the Senate and being able to do. But to hear that, okay, you have the same problem in your community, and I have this problem in my community also, where we have these out-of-state corporations coming in and buying, a vast majority of it's going to be lower income housing where people maybe be able to start, have their first family home and move up, and they buy all these, and sometimes they buy them off the tax rolls, however they do it. They buy them for so long, they don't keep them up, and they rent them out. And what that does is it deteriorates our neighborhoods, and it makes our local areas, there's nobody accountable, right? They don't take care of their properties, and they just rent it out, and they just feed off these things, and they sell them eventually or whatever they do. But it also keeps people from being able to do that American dream of buying your first home, you know, and they're stuck in these rental houses and things like that, and the entire neighborhood's become that. And then you don't have that community sense, right? That the property ownership and all those other things that I would love to see everybody be able to be a part of.
Okay.
Is that it?
Okay.
Thank you.